Welcome to the Cochrane Show. My name is John Cochrane. That's Lauren Anderson. And this is a Warriors slash in-season tournament episode. Those are two very different things because the Warriors got eliminated.
Definitely
quite
not
early.
in-season tournament material at the moment.
No. Can we just start with the Warriors
dive
really
right
quick here?
in.
Because
That rope was going up and it is stalled, my friend.
it is just tumbled down. And we got to start with Steph Curry. Right? He shoots 12 threes against the Portland Trailblazers, scores 48 points, looks just in rhythm, but nobody else could do anything else. I mean, he did blow a layup, but how do you lose when Steph Curry scores 48?
I think that's the Warriors season in a nutshell, man. Like, their whole offense seems to be predicated on getting the ball to Steph and hoping that the magic is still laced up. I think that bunny that he missed at the end, he'd love to get that one back. And to me, that just tired legs. He's had a couple games off. He's come back and he's forced to run around the whole game. And yeah, what a shame that a 12 3-point make night is ruined by just a tough loss. Absolutely devastating at the end there, especially because they were up by 10 going into that fourth and they had a lead. This is what we're saying, John. They can't just build a lead and keep them at the moment. This seems to be part of it.
And there's a few things that are concerning me. Back to back, right? They had the Timberwolves without Anthony Edwards, so you know they're going to lose that game because they don't have their star player. And then you go to the Portland Trailblazers without a starting point guard and you lose to them. But here's the problem. Is Jimmy Butler's contract beginning to be the worst in the NBA?
Here is a list of guys who are getting paid less than Jimmy Butler. And I want to ask you whether or not you would be happy to have them on your team. Jason Tatum.
Instead of Jimmy?
Sorry?
Are you saying instead of Jimmy Butler?
The quality of the players that are getting paid less than Jimmy Butler at the moment.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum, obviously he's injured.
Jason Tatum.
But you got Devin Booker, Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, Lauri Markkanen, Cade Cunningham, Jamal Murray, Donovan Mitchell, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Pascal Siakam, Domantas Sabonis. You know what all of those guys have in common? They average more than 20 points a game. Jimmy Butler is getting paid $54 million this season, and he's averaging less than 20 points a game. Granted, he gets 5 boards and 5 assists a game, and he's good for a couple of steals every now and again. But he is not playing at that tier level that they need him to play. And he might have his own internal frustrations. I know that he's been sort of critical of the coaching staff and saying that they've got to play differently and they've got to play through him when Steph is on the floor. But I haven't been seeing him go and get the ball and steady the ship and put the team on his back like he did last year yet. And it's kind of hard to watch.
He's not going to get the ball when Steph isn't in. Like, I think the opportunities are there, but he's just not being aggressive enough. He's not playing, they like to give it to him in the post and sort of play through him sort of in that post mid-range area, but he's just getting the ball and passing it to a Moses Moody who will dribble, pick it up, and then sort of panic.
Same with
what do I do with this thing? Same with Pods, same with Quentin Post, unless it's Quentin Post, his defense has gotten better, his three-point shot looks good, but none of these players are really create offense for themselves. That's what they need Jimmy Butler to do.
I agree wholeheartedly. You're paying the man $54 million in a season, and you need him to bump it up. Like, he used to average, 24 points a game in Miami and more when he was in the Miami Heat. And that's 6 points a game. That's the difference between wins and losses for a lot of these Warriors games. That extra 6 points gets them over the line. And yeah, the margin's still close, but they need him to operate at that level because your highest paid players on the Warriors are Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Kuminga, Draymond Green, right? And Draymond Green, we've seen a bit of a regression. He's not consistently on the floor. And if he is, as you've been saying the last couple of weeks, is that his effort is inconsistent depending on the quality of the opponents and so forth. And then you've got less than what you bargained for in Jimmy Butler. You've got nothing out of $25 million from Kuminga. And then you've got Steph, who he's still playing at a prime all-star level, and you're just going to blow it. I saw a report somewhere saying that this could be one of the last 2 years of Steph's career. And we're just not getting the kind of team around him that can make the most of that window of opportunity.
Steph Curry at the age of 37 is averaging like 29.4 points a game. It's his third best offensive season of his career at age 37. And you have a 13-14 record. They just got it. They got to do better. In the first 27 games, Lorne, the Golden State Warriors have used 15 different starting lineups. That is mind-boggling. And some of that's due to injuries.
Yeah, and I wonder too if that's a little bit of a part of a problem, right? Like, you've got players who are so insecure on the bench that they're getting yanked if they're making mistakes. And they're not given the opportunity to fail and fail faster in order to play through it and grow through it. Maybe, from an observational point of view, maybe that's just what I'm saying. But I think that sets a culture in which then everything then falls back on Steph. And so if you're tinkering with the roster, you're coming out and you're saying Kaminga's going to be in the starting lineup moving forward. And then 3 games later, that's not the case anymore. And then fast forward a couple of weeks, he's getting DNPs consistently for 3.5. Poor guy, man. Like that's in my mind, that's failed leadership. And I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, obviously. But if you're going to give a man $25 million, but then not even create opportunities for him to succeed, like just because somebody's on the starting lineup doesn't mean that they have to play 30 minutes a night. You know what I mean? Like, you can still get them into a rhythm, get them the ball 3-4 times a play. If they're still making the same dumb mistakes, take them out, re-explain it, put them back in. Like, am I wrong for thinking that if you're tinkering with too much stuff, you're obviously communicating a message to your players that we don't trust you, we don't believe in what's going on, and we have to change it up. And everything is urgent because we're trying to make the most of Steph's last 2 years or whatever the case might be.
For sure. I mean, the Warriors, they're 6 games out of like a non-play-in spot, I believe. They're falling behind a little bit. And so are they just a play-in team this year? Do they have a pathway to get into
and this
that
is,
6th seed?
What's it, 2.5 games, and they're 12.5 games behind. And what's it, Utah Jazz, Portland Trail Blazers, Dallas Mavericks, who are looking a little bit frisky right now. They're all within 3 games of the Warriors. And we had hoped that they would at least be a play-in team, if not a top 6 team, but they're not showing that anymore. And if the Blazers are taking advantage of them, then this is some worrying signs for us Warriors fans. It's I don't know if it's panic stations or we've been deluding ourselves. And this is something I was thinking about today as I was ruminating about this loss. Because Steph Curry's on the team, have we convinced ourselves that every year that they should be a contender when they have just been stuck in that sort of illusion themselves, been trying to iron it out for the last couple of years? And was that last championship that they won against Boston almost like a little bit of shooting themselves in the foot because they're like, right, we've got a proof of concept. 6'3" shooters can kill in the NBA. We're just going to double down on that, and we're just going to ride it. Everybody's zigging, and we're going to zag. And, against the Blazers, anybody who is 6'3" got 12 minutes of playing time. The rest of that starting lineup is 6'5" and above, and you got length at every position. No wonder they shot the lights out against the Warriors. They saw over the top of everybody's forehead. Like, come on, man. I'm hot on this. I'm hot. I'm disappointed, John.
I think the proof of concept in 2022, there are a few things that are just missing, right? Otto Porter Jr. was huge in that playoff run. He didn't play tons of minutes, but he was able to come in and sort of be a poor man's Draymond Green, still be able to connect the game together. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for players that can connect the offense, that have the IQ to be able to play this sort of read and react offense. So Otto Porter Jr. was one. And then I've talked about this before, but Jordan Poole goes so under the radar how vital he was. And that punch could have been the dynasty killer. That knocked out Jordan Poole. It might have also knocked out the dynasty.
100%. Yeah, it's a hard thing to watch sometimes because you can see that this is an organization that has a lot of pride. that has a lot of self-belief, but
Yeah.
it's just really chaotic. And sometimes as I'm watching them, like Steph's not your typical guard, right? Like he's not coming in, calling plays, and then like patiently waiting to find the right cutter and so forth. A lot of their system is bringing people into chaos so that Steph can get off the ball, relocate, get back on the ball, and hopefully they've broken down the defense enough that he is going to be able to hit a three. Like he'll attack as well, and he has been so nifty getting to the cup this year as well, which has been awesome to see. But for the four other guys on the floor, you're thinking through what are your spots, what are your angles, how do I make sure that I get the screens required to get Steph open again? And sometimes I wonder if Steph is most potent when he is like obviously always going to be a first option, but even when the offense is set up so that he can be a secondary option, or that there are moments when other guys are getting a little bit more attention and seeming to drag out defenders and so forth. Again, circling back to Jimmy Butler, that's what we need him to be a little bit more. And it just need to carry this team and be like, no, it's my time. Jimmy Buckets, playoff Jimmy is coming out a little bit early. And let's just save this season and show these guys what we can do.
Did you ever see that Madden clip from back in the day when there's a Green Bay Packers receiver and he's got a broken leg this is just a video game, and it's all about I put the team on my back? People listening to this would know exactly what I'm talking about, but that's what Jimmy Butler needs to do. But Lauren, I want to do a segment here that's going to be a reoccurring theme on the Cochrane Show. We're just going to call it the Kaminga Watch.
Okay.
And because I think this is going to be a weekly thing until he is not on the Warriors. Kaminga is going to be the headline of news with the Golden State Warriors. He's got 3 DNPs in a row. Do you think, what is more likely? A, Kerr just doesn't trust him and doesn't think he can work in this system. B, he's proving a point to Kuminga that you're not a star. I can bench you just like I could bench Will Richard, a rookie. Or C, we've got a trade in the works. Your time here is done.
If it's the trade in the works, you can't trade him for another month
until January.
And that's just devastating. That's absolutely devastating. And it's lose-lose for both the organization and for Kuminga. It just doesn't make sense. Unless what you said is true and that he is not enhancing his trade value. But I find that really hard to believe because we saw some flashes earlier in the year. So that to me doesn't make sense. If Kerr is proving a point at this stage to Kuminga, then there must be something in this young man's personality that is just like light years beyond his ability. And, you know, there are diagnoses for that. And that would be really unfortunate. You know, that would be a really, really sad part of the story. Otherwise, like, what was the first option? Like,
that he just doesn't work in this offense and doesn't trust Kuminga to make the right play.
If that's what it is, John, then in my opinion, that is some poor leadership. Because if you've
Are we saying this because we have a false sense of reality of how good Kaminga is?
No, but you've got somebody who's this athletic. Like, you've got to get him on the floor. It's a like I said, it's a bad look for the organization. It's a bad look for Kuminga. It does nothing for his trade sort of value. If you can't find him like 5 minutes in the game, like tell me that he, you know, with a straight face, without lying, tell me that he can't play 10 minutes in the game and be as effective, if not more so, than Buddy Hield. Please, come on. Like, Pat Spencer got 6 minutes. You mean to tell me that Kuminga can't give you 6 good minutes in the game?
Maybe not. I don't think that he can in the role that these players are playing, because I think he wants to be him. But just like this is the Tatum thing in the Olympics all over again. Like, I've talked about this before. It's all about, can you play the role that has been given to you? If you play a role outside of what's been given to you, then the whole thing falls to shambles.
In which case, again, like, you've had this guy for how many years on your team?
Yeah, I don't know how many years is it now?
So 5? In my mind, that's poor leadership. You mean to tell me in 5 years, your veterans and your like coaching staff can't get this guy in a position to win? He is either the most obnoxious, difficult to work with human being on a basketball team, But I don't get that impression by the way in which the videos of him joking around with GP2 and, I don't get that impression from the way other guys are talking about him on the floor. Or, but somebody with that amount of athleticism, and what have you got to lose now? You've already put yourself in a corner now where it looks like you're going to be a solid low playing team, right? So unless you go on a run here and fix it, which is just continually not happening with him or without him on the team, and you're giving him DNPs, then surely you got to mix it up and at least get him on the court. It's just, if you're trying to kill a guy's confidence, this is how you do it. I just am devastated for the whole situation. Again, I think it's a terrible look. Sorry, I'm hot. I was really invested in this Blazers game. I was watching it the other day. I was screaming at all of Steph's threes. And then I just watched the poor man have 48 points and be -8. And I'm still grumpy about this, John. I'm still hot.
To be fair, the Warriors have had the worst start schedule in the history of the NBA. It's been absolutely brutal. Final Kaminga Watch question that I have for you. Who's he closer to? Jaylen Brown in terms of talent-wise and ceiling, or Bol Bol?
Well, I mean, you have to say Bol Bol at this stage because Jaylen Brown proved it. He doubled down and was a finals MVP, right? Everybody thought that he was the 2A star. And after the loss to the Golden State Warriors, had Bill Simmons on his podcast wondering if Jaylen Brown needed to be traded, articulating that sentiment. And he came back and he's earned his spot. And now he is Jason Tatum is out, obviously, but he's the top scorer on that Boston's team. And man, that guy is just dedicated himself to proving himself. Kaminga, come on, man. If you've got all those athletic tools, where is the fire that says, that's me? I've got to be him. And I'm not going to get there in this offense by talking about it. I have to show it. I just have to come in. I got to play hard. I've got to do the things that are asked of me. And building that trust in those intangibles, some of the things that don't show up on the box score, that's then going to give you the permission to go off on the offensive end that you really enjoy. And we've said this before, but my fear is that he would be like a LaMelo Ball guy, like a fantastic player on a bottom feeder team that is more concerned with the image and getting his stats and his 30 points a game with actually being and building a legacy in a contending system. And that would be a sad end to this whole affair.
Yeah. The first 3 games that he played, he did what was asked of him. I was shocked. I was like, what? Kuminga just made a pass. He didn't just head down, get caught up in the leg, try to draw a foul, fall over, and brick it. No, he actually made a pass. Whoa, Kuminga went for the rebound. He didn't just stand there watching. He jumped for the ball. And it's funny because the bench claps when Kuminga gets rebounds because obviously this is a talking point. Rebounds shouldn't be necessarily a clap-worthy thing. That's just effort and hustle. And then he got the praise. And we'll end the Kaminga Watch here, but he got the praise and he started just go back to his old habits.
So, I mean, maybe that's it. And maybe it's not Steve Kerr. Maybe it's Steph Curry. Maybe it's Draymond Green. Maybe it's Jimmy Butler being like, we can't have this anymore. You had it for a couple of games. We got some good wins. This is what we need. And if you can't do it, well, then go have fun on the Wizards.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anyone on the Wizards that the Golden State Warriors want, but Lorne, the in-season tournament is well and truly almost at the end. We've got the finals of the Spurs and the Knicks, but a few weeks back, we did a prediction it was just the quarterfinals that we predicted scores. So let's just have a look back in the archives here to see who was closest. I don't know if we had anything on the line, but and then we'll talk a little bit about that Spurs and Thunder matchup because that's really interesting. All right, so we had the Suns versus the Thunder. The Thunder won by about 50, 138 to 89. And your prediction was the Thunder would win 116-98. Mine was 135-114. So if we took my Thunder score and your Sun score, we're pretty close.
That's right. I mean, that was unfortunate for Phoenix. They didn't have Devin Booker in that game, right? But there was no way they were coming out of that. Yes, the Suns have been overachievers this year, but you're not going to be overachievers against that juggernaut. No, thank you. Moving on. Lakers, Spurs.
So we'll call that one a split. Like that was a tie between you and I. Lakers, Spurs. Lorne, you had the Lakers to win 120-108. I had the Lakers also to win 128-111. And what a letdown the Lakers were in that game. My goodness.
They put 120 points on the board, like 119. So you got pretty close. But it's just that the Spurs, without Victor Wembanyama, dropped 132. I think they put the league on notice. What an incredible achievement that, what they are doing in San Antonio is beautiful.
Yeah, for sure. And to think that could be a Giannis destination in the future, that would be scary.
Although you've got a proof of concept, and I don't know if you'd want to tinker with it too much, especially with what we're going to talk about, going forward. But anyway, keep going. We'll go.
Yeah, we'll hold that one. Let's go up north. We had I will admit, I think some nostalgia or some bias came into these predictions. So we had the Raptors.
There's no way I'm going to go for anybody else except for the Canadian team picker. Hey, there's just not going to happen.
They just rise to the occasion. Not this time, though. You predicted Raptors 108, Knicks 97, and I said Raptors 115, Knicks 113. 117-101 was the final score there.
The Knickerbockers. Look, that was a fun fourth quarter. It looked like the Raptors were just trying to break it. Every time they would bring it to 15, you just felt like, oh man, can they get an avalanche going? Can BI get them over the line? They really needed a secondary offense. They were missing quickly. They missed RJ Barrett, and they were just not themselves. Winter just got a little bit more depressing up above that boundary, that border. Anyway, going all the way south, and we drop into the test of the Florida Titans. These two Florida teams. What did we have in the predictions here?
Yes, we had the Magic. You had Magic over the Heat, 134-118. I had the Heat over the Magic, 110-103. So we'll give that one to you. The Magic won 117-108. Now, I do want to pause on this game because two things. I made a comment about Franz Wagner in my last episode that I need to retract in terms of false information, false news. He is not out for the season. He's out for about 4 weeks with a sprained ankle. I got sucked in with clickbait. I apologize to listeners, but my statement that I made, I still think rings true. Can Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero coexist well together?
You obviously think no, but firstly, I want to commend you on not standing for fake news on this show. Come on. You got it. Go.
Let's go.
Yeah. Look, I had said it for quite a few weeks that I thought Orlando was going to be the Indiana Pacers of last year. They have picked it up, but I think there are some glaring issues in this team that go beyond. And I got to say, I am not a fan of Desmond Bane's shenanigans. Like, yeah, you want to play hard, but don't go throwing the basketball at people. Stop with those dirty fouls. It's just a bad look for this team. It's an absolute bad look. You should have left all of that junk back in Memphis where it belongs. Don't bring it down to Orlando. Just, come on, man. Like, this is unnecessary. Completely unnecessary.
Come on, man. That's right. He's just linking the attitude to his jacked biceps. Man, that guy goes to the gym and just does curls all day.
If I did that, there's no way that I could shoot threes. It's just like...
Yeah. There's no flexibility. Like, how do you get that wrist, elbow, knee sort of?
Maybe in Florida, your biceps do a little bit more for you at the beach than what they would in Memphis, and so you just got to condition that. Yeah, that man is an absolute tank. Absolute tank. He's got a physique that most most people would aspire to.
He's in the wrong sport. Go
Yeah,
play an
but for real,
NFL, man.
you don't need to be whipping the basketball at guys who are on the ground, after fouling them. Like, that's just completely unnecessary. And until they clean it up, I'm off the Magic bus. I'm just off. Maybe you're right. Banchero, Wagner can't do it. But until you start showing me some integrity, I'm done. I'm done. Good riddance. Good riddance.
It doesn't take you much to jump
I'll
off
be
the
flip-flopping all over the place, but integrity means a lot to me. So if we go then to the the semifinals, let's stay in the East, and we had the Knicks and the Magic, and the Knicks put the Magic in the Brunson burner. Wow. That man is playing next level.
Jalen Brunson. Whenever I wish I had a nickname. You know the song, I Whip My Hair Back and Forth. That's Jalen Brunson playing basketball. Those silly dreads that just infatuate his flopping abilities drive me crazy. And speaking of short guards, if Jalen Brunson, I know they're in the NBA Cup final. I'm just not sure. I can be changed. My mind can change. Can you win a title with your best player? Is he, 6 foot? Now, you could say Steph Curry, but Steph Curry's like 6'2",
those 2 inches mean a lot. Look, this Knicks team is fun. Although we saw on the other side, that was probably one of the more intense games. Like, you had Mr. Van Gundy there and Dwayne Wade as the commentators, and they were giggling at what they were watching. That play where Caruso knocks the ball out of Wemby's hands, and he just kind of like catches it again before the ball hits the ground, turns around and just fires over Caruso in the final couple minutes. It's like, geez, we said it at the start of the year. Wemby is must-watch television, and it's so good to have him back on the floor. Without him, Thunder would have won that game hands down. But I could not believe how many shots that Thunder team missed in the final, 4 minutes of the game. They just looked rattled. They looked shell-shocked. They couldn't get to their spots. Vassell was playing phenomenal defense there on Shea towards the end. And it just seemed like, I feel like it's a terrible test. Like, when you say which team wants it more, obviously they both want it. But in this game, it looked like the beginning of the arrival of Victor Wembanyama. He's lost a couple of these big games in the Olympics and playoffs, and we've seen his tears and stuff like that. And he was talking his stuff, man. They got one finally, and he has the first chance now to put a trophy in that cabinet. I'm excited for them.
The most impactful 20 minutes.
For real, though. For real. And 20 minutes.
Yeah. It doesn't even show up on the stats, his impact, right? Like, the amount of shots that aren't thought about because he's there. Like, that's the crazy thing. If he is within 5 feet, 6 feet of a shot, it's like, no bueno. I'm gonna kick it out. And what I love, Lorne, about Wemby, speaking of getting on bandwagons, I love his mindset, right? Just his intensity and the fire between him and Chet. So good for the NBA.
Yeah.
To have this next iteration of some sort of rivalry.
Sure. And this is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of still full of integrity, but hugely respectful, hugely competitive, hugely going to go at you, but I'm not going to kick you when you're down. I'm not going to treat you like an animal. This is the kind of stuff where it's just so good, going at each other and just being like, all right, you call yourself a 7-foot shooter. Let's see your footwork. Let's see your shot. Let's, go at me. Come, let's do it. Let's do this. And Wemby is all for it. And I love it. All for it. They bring it back and forth all the time. And I think you're right. It's absolutely great to have these sort of KD, Giannis prototypes in these young 7-foot bodies that are just doing all this new stuff, just blowing the positions out of the water. And both of them seem like they're really taking pride in wanting to be that guy. And hopefully this isn't a break for Chet. Hopefully he keeps the fire. He keeps coming at him.
I want to predict the Knicks Spurs Emirates NBA Cup final, but before we go there, I am so surprised how successful the Emirates NBA Cup has been. Oh, since its iteration, right? It has added just the floors are silly. I don't think the floors will exist next year with all the complaining about it being slippery, but the level of competition that these players are putting forth, what is it, 500 grand per player that
Uh-huh.
wins the NBA Cup? So for some of these players, that's a significant amount of money that, for the ones that are at the end of the bench, heck, give me a fifth of that. I'd be sweet. Um, but it's been really a success in the NBA having this in-season tournament, and I think other leagues should adopt it. I think the NHL should adopt this style of
Yeah,
in-season
it's
tournament.
crazy. Like when we first learned about it, I didn't know if I was so hot on it. I thought it was going to be a little bit of a gimmick, especially with the floors and stuff like that. And I didn't really like how you could have in-season tournament games and then you'd wait like a week before the next one or 2 weeks. It just seemed like it was such a disconnected phenomena. But to bring
Mm.
meaningful basketball back into November and December, like that's genuinely enjoyable. It's genuinely enjoyable to see playoff caliber games and also get some opportunities for teams like Phoenix, teams like Orlando to get in there. And granted, they had some pretty impressive wins to get into those quarterfinal places. The Detroit, was it Orlando that beat Detroit to get into that spot? Like there was don't quote me for fake news there. I can't remember which one, but I remember there being some tight games even to get to that end. And that's one of the exciting things about one and done games, right? Like the NBA has these 7-game series in the playoffs, and on any given night, any NBA team bringing out their best, well, not any NBA team, but most NBA teams bringing out their best can be fairly competitive. It means that everybody's got to be on the ball at the same time or on their game. It's great.
So the Knicks and the Spurs are going to be tipping off on Amazon Prime, both 3 seeds in their respective conferences. So this is a really, evenly matched game. What's your prediction?
If the Spurs can pull off what they did against OKC, I'm going to ride with them. If Wemby is healthy and can play in this game, which I think he will be, I think that the Spurs are going to win this one.
I
All
need a
right.
score, please.
I think it's going to be 112-108 to the Spurs. Another close one. I think the Brunson burner is going to be on fire, but I think that added like 40 feet of wingspan from Victor is going to be really helpful.
40-foot. Michael Jordan, Space Jam, center of the floor, diving, getting pulled down by
Yeah,
the
that's right.
Monstars
Go
style
gadget
player.
arm, dunk it still. Let's go.
So I am also going to take the Spurs. Yeah. They scored 132 against the Lakers and then 109 against the 111 against the Knicks. 111 against the Thunder. I think the Knicks defense is somewhere in between the Lakers and the Thunder. They're not as good as the Thunder, but they're not as bad as the Lakers. So I'm going to put it at, all that to be said, 22. I think Jalen Brunson's going to be in trouble in this game. I don't think this is a good matchup for them. 120 to
Ooh,
105.
you think the Knicks are getting waxed?
I think it's not. I don't think it's gonna be closed. I don't think the Knicks are going out to the casinos in Vegas late night before the NBA Cup. I don't know about the Knicks. I don't know what goes on over there, but I know Wemby's gonna be locked in reading his books in bed at 8
I'm telling
o'clock
you,
the night
he does
before,
not
and
seem like the
they'll be
kind
ready
of
to go.
guy who will be on the floors of the casino. I feel like he'll be playing video games, going to bed early. That's the vibes I get from that man. Yeah, that's the
That's what you
vibes I
get
get
from
from
Cat.
Cat. Video games, or
Sort of like, yeah, I could see him
yeah,
being like
right,
a
okay.
streamer, a Twitch
Yeah,
streamer. But hey, you can really lose track of time playing that
yeah, you
video game.
can,
So
you can. But when $500,000 is on the line, I feel like you'll set that alarm a few times on your phone.
yeah, you'd hope so. So, is there anything else in the NBA world right now, Lauren, that
I got
you
2
want to talk about?
bugbears. I want to get off my chest. I told you I'm hot tonight. I'm hot.
Yeah,
I
come
just
on. We need a segment.
Yeah,
called like
get it
off
up.
Lauren's chest.
Okay.
Lauren's getting
First
chesty.
one, NBA top 10. Can you stop giving us highlights where there's blatant travels, carries, double dribbles? watching the other night, and Nembhard goes and takes like 4 steps between dribbles on 2 occasions in the same play, spin move layup, beautiful, well coordinated, absolutely incredible. If it wasn't a blatant carry, if it wasn't a blatant double dribble. And that is what you're putting on to advertise your product. It happens so regularly where you're looking at the comments being like, yeah, that's cool, but come on, guys. Like, surely we have more things that we can accentuate that will give great advice to the younger generations learning the game, that they can go and do some cool stuff without having to, like, pick the ball up with 2 hands or whatever. Like, come on. This has been a bugbear of mine for years. Come on, man. And the second thing is fantastic finishes. Get me sucked in as well. There's the NBA highlights. There's the final 347 or whatever it is. And you watch it and you just see miss 3 after miss 3 and then a whole slew of free throws going back and forth. Now, tonight, the Houston Rockets against Denver Nuggets, that was beautiful. The last 2 minutes of the game, the incredible shot making from both sides. Jokic hitting perlers. They responded. Reed Shepherd, wow, what a guy. That is the kind of game that you want to honor. You cannot tell me it's a fantastic finish when I just watch a team miss 4 shots in a row and then seal a game on free throws. Come on!
I thought you were going to go to the end game officiating.
That too. There's been some foul calls where I was just watching some of the stuff. Cooper Flagg, he had a doozy. First 18-year-old to hit 40 points. Kudos to him. I was actually thinking, like we predicted, or we were saying, like, could this be the year where he doesn't win Rookie of the Year? But you keep doing that kind of stuff, and it'll be a lock. But there was one play, and I can't remember who was guarding him, but he just goes straight into the chest. The defender's hands are down. Cooper Flagg reefs back and gets a take foul on the shot. And that can't be what the NBA becomes. Like, if a guy has defensive position and the offender goes straight into his chest and then, like, falls back to hit the shot, oh my goodness, James Harden, what have you done?
That's SGA. That's SGA in a nutshell.
And maybe I'm frustrated because we're a bit of a Warriors podcast. Where is the respect for Steph Curry? In that game against Minnesota, he got, like, wrestled to the ground and didn't get the call. Now, they stopped the highlight or the replay just before you see Steph Curry grabbing, who was guarding him? It wasn't Kulabi. Who was...
It's normally McDaniels.
Yeah. So McDaniels was on him, and you can see McDaniels had enough of the Steph Curry trickery. And there was one play where Steph Curry actually grabs the shooting arm of McDaniels to prevent him from coming off a screen, and McDaniels just have enough. Everybody in the world would have seen the replay, but you need to go and see what happens in the 5 seconds leading up to the play. But how does Steph get so disrespected that he doesn't get those same calls? My guy, if you're going to give it to Cooper Flagg, yes, the Mavs made a horrible, horrible decision in trading Luka Doncic. You already gave them the number 1 pick to compensate. You can't give them fouls like that. Come on.
Adam Silver, stop giving the Mavericks these benefits.
What did those guys do?
Come on, man. Steph Curry doesn't get the calls because he doesn't flop until he's angry that the refs aren't seeing the amount of times he gets grabbed on every play. Like, Steph Curry gets fouled on every single possession. You see the scratch
marks on that man's arms at the end of a game. Holy.
Him and Jokic, they both only flop when they've gotten so frustrated for the amount of non-calls that are happening. So that wraps up Lorne's chesty.
I've got it off. So I've got 2 questions for you then. How many more years do you think Steph Curry and Draymond Green play? This is something I was thinking about this year or this week, especially in light of watching the Warriors lose to the Blazers. How many more of this kinds of seasons do you think these 2 men have on this franchise?
I think Draymond Green will be done next year. I think next year will be his last season. I think Steph Curry could play until he's 40.
3 more years barring any significant injury. Yeah, right. Because
I do.
that would be interested to see him on a team without Draymond Green. And so far as I've been like playing the ESPN trade machines, trying to figure out what the problem is or how to fix the problem in Golden State, I've just thought that Draymond Green has been an untouchable player with the Warriors. There's no way you can move him for sentimental reasons and so forth, unless he pulls a Klay Thompson and gets himself out of there and goes to join his brother in Los Angeles. I don't know.
Well, he almost did that, right? He almost did that to Minnesota a few years back. No, sorry, Memphis. He almost went to Memphis, not
Yeah.
Minnesota,
But
Memphis.
yeah, so it'd be interesting in that regard. Like I've often just assumed that you couldn't trade Draymond Green because he is one of the guys that unlocks the Steph Curry puzzle. But he wasn't playing with the team in the Olympics. And it took them a while to get there. But in the last 2 or 3 games, Steph Curry was definitely unlocked. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Draymond Green will definitely finish his career with the Warriors. But it is an interesting question to me what that team might look like if he wasn't on it and how Steph would operate.
In the past, Draymond Green has been to the defense what Steph Curry is to the offense. I'm not sure if that's so true anymore. And I don't think it's unreasonable to say someone else can do what Draymond Green does on
Right.
the offensive end. Right? They're running split actions with Draymond Green and Steph Curry. He's doing like that slip screen where he fakes the screen, Steph gets two, and then gets the free layup at the rim. I don't know. I'm sure there's so much more intricacy. Don't say big words, John.
Intricacies.
You can't say them. Yeah, intricacies that are happening there. But it's hard to say that someone couldn't fill that void. But the problem is, if he plays longer than his contract, like if he goes for another contract, is he going to be expecting 20 million again? Because he's not that kind of player.
Can't do that.
But Steph, on the other hand, Steph gets another contract. What, that's going to be 60 million a year?
He would like, unless he, was to go and say and pull a James Brunson and say, no, I want to play on a very strong team. I'm willing to take a hit. Like, he could pull a LeBron and just keep signing 1-year extensions or 1-year deals. And I mean, that could really hamstring the team. But yeah, it's just, it was an interesting thought experiment as I was just watching the Blazers the other day and thinking, man, like where a lot of the NBA has gotten longer, has gotten 3-and-D, prioritized 3-and-D players, almost positionless basketball and so forth. Here is a team that is still fighting to get Steph free almost every possession and then looking for secondary options for any other player. It's, and Draymond is brilliant, absolutely brilliant at being able to find Steph Curry wherever he finds himself. And so what would it look like if the Warriors moved on from him? Because he's definitely starting to show his age this season.
Yeah. Yeah. There's one glaring issue with Draymond right now. He can have 3 turnovers, but 8, that's too many. You can't be having 8 turnovers in a game when you're not contributing offensively like that. He's just got to be smarter. He seems rushed. He just seems too rushed when he's on offense right now and making these like full court heave throws that get intercepted or trying to force it to Steph Curry between 3 guys. And obviously that gets intercepted. They're not smart turnovers. They're just trying to force things too much. So I think if the Warriors, just to put a bow on that, I think if the Warriors can turn down, we've been saying this for years, if they could turn down the amount of turnovers that happen and just don't foul, like that's the game. Turnovers and fouls for the Warriors offense. And if they can reduce those things, play with some more intensity, don't play like you've got a rod up your butt for everyone else except Steph Curry. Like, just be free. You can just see they're all so tense and they're not making shots and they're not shooting the shots. Like, how do you incorporate Steph Curry to what they were doing when he was
And
hurt?
that's the question. That's what we saw in Minnesota. That's what we saw in Portland, where, when Steph is on the floor, every man and their dog knows that they want to get the ball to Steph. And 39 and 48 points later, it's fantastic. Like, he's got these beautiful games. but at the end of the day, they're not winning. And, we were talking about plus minuses earlier. 48 points and still being -8, it just means that all of that work is not creating any separation at all. And that's really hard for a team. You're right. Everybody's just trying to prioritize, feeding the hot hand, which is great. But you gotta get other hands, heating up, and you gotta get them attacking the basket. Like,
Yeah, wow, he's a -8. I
no,
thought he was only a
-8.
-4.
So a team is almost building a 10-point lead when he's on the floor, and he's putting in 48 points. Like, that's really concerning. Like, that's tough.
If you stop before plus minus, 61% on field goal percentage at 16 for 26, 63% on 3-pointers, 12 for 19, 100% on free throws, only 4 to 4. That's just insane. That stat line
100%.
is ridiculous.
And bar last year, any other Warriors team, except for that little, tank year where everybody was injured, that would be a 10 to 15 point win for the Warriors. A game like that. And it's just...
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
Well, my prediction moving on from here, Lorne, is that the next time we chat, next Monday, is the Warriors are going to win every game between now
and then.
and then.
Who we got? What's coming up on the schedule? I want to see this. Let's have a look, and we'll see if we can...
What's coming up? Yeah, just if you've got it there,
I'm
let me
working on
know.
it.
So, they have a few days off here. So they got the Suns. My Suns. I think that will be a win.
Suns with no Devin Booker still, right?
How long is Booker out for? I actually don't know what his
me neither.
injury is. With or without Book, I think the Suns will get the Warriors will get that one. And then they play again on Saturday. Sorry, for people listening, Suns back-to-back. So they got 2 Suns games.
Okay. And then Magic, Mavericks, Warriors, Nets. Okay, so we could potentially, with the Raptors, Nets, Hornets, there's a couple of games there where, are any stars out? Come on. You were saying the Suns, that's not looking good if Devin Booker is out for 2 games in a row. Surely they got to at least split that.
No. They're going to win.
All right, so you're saying that they're going to win both games against the Suns, they're going to lose to the Magic, and then they're going to beat the Mavericks, the Nets.
No.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, Suns Magic, but we might be talking Monday next week. That game is on Tuesday, so you might be right. So a doubleheader against the Suns. You think they can pull it off? Come on. Everything
gets better when teams win. So we're going to be having the GNTs and just loving life. I'm seeing the future.
All right, we're seeing the future. And in one of those games, Kaminga gets a nod, and he's going to come back. He's going to play 15 impactful minutes. Let's speak it into existence.
He's going to be like, I'm going to show Jalen Green what I've got. We're the same draft class, but
it's going to be a tryout, and we'll see if they can't pull off that Kaminga for Dylan Brooks swap.
Yeah, that's Dylan Brooks. Ooh, there's going to be some technicals in those games.
100%. The shenanigans, the Dylan Brooks, LeBron James shenanigans. Boy, if that rolls over into the Warriors, we've got some fun television in front of us.
Before we go, Lorne, was it you that I was talking about the starting 5 shenanigans players?
Yeah. We were talking about that. Yeah.
Okay, that was you.
Maybe that will be a foreshadow for next week. We'll do our all-in shenanigans, live it up off the court, or live it up shenanigans players that just full of character.
That's right. We'll reveal those next week. So that's all the time we've got tonight. But
you got it.
Dubs.
Come on, let's go.